The animal who left those footmarks was sacred for all the peoples of Siberia. It was worshipped at all the stages of humanity development. The common features of this cult can be observed even among people separated by oceans. With some people it was the symbol of eternal life and strength, with others it evoked fear, the third ascribed to it the powers of the god of earth. Two European capitals, Bern and Berlin, were named after it. Its image decorated the emblems of Kirzhach, Perm, Maloyaroslavets, Novgorod and other cities and towns. In the beginning of October, professional hunters go to the taiga to hunt fur-bearing animals. Each of them has his own idea of the formidable taiga lord that spends half of his life in hibernation. The time when bears go to sleep in central Siberia is about the end of October. It's the time when abundant snowfalls begin. Nowadays, they seldom search for bear dens purposefully. They usually find them by chance while hunting for sables or other animals and leave them until a more convenient season, that is until the time when the snow gets deep enough. Before the beginning of the trap hunt season, thousands of shorts will thunder the taiga. The joy of the hunter and the pain of nature stands for each of them. But that's the law of the world, where the divine ancestors come in disguise of animals, which they cannot get rid of without the help of people. That's what Paleo-Asiatic and Ugro-Finnish peoples, who inhabited the vast territory from Finland to the farthest coastland, believed in. That's why to kill a bear was not a crime for them. The bandy-legged, the brown-coated knight, the sacred mountain animal, gilak, the sacred animal, these were the roundabout ways of referring to the bear, as it was prohibited to pronounce its own name. In the Russian language, the initial name for the animal, ber, has been preserved just as a part of the word berloga, bear's den. Hunting in Baikal region. The second film. A bear's den. The village of Verkhnya Oka is just 1 hour drive from town, but here they lead the traditional way of life typical of an outlying place. Today, as it has been since a long time ago, men go hunting to the taiga, as a bear den was found on one of the Sayan mountains. In the old times, it was a tradition to go bear hunting quietly without telling anybody about that. The bear hunters tried to avoid village roads. Their household was prohibited to watch them go. There were as well other prohibitions concerning this highly emotional and mystical activity. Under the attack of the modern world, the old Siberian bear hunting ritual has gradually disappeared. They no more use the hunting fork, the specific vocabulary, and don't bear bare bones. Still, the respect for the bear has been preserved among the native peoples of the Northern Hemisphere. The remains of this, one of the most ancient cults, has been recorded among the Russians, Ainu, Karelians, Evenkis, Tuvinians, Khanty, Mansi, Yakuts, Buryats, Ob-Yugurs and Finns. The horses are used to long travels, and now they are waiting for the oats and other things necessary in the winter time to be put on them. The hunters are to spend 5 days on horseback, as the way to the den takes 2.5 days. In this film, you will see the traditional bear hunt as it used to be, without any put-up job or special effects. This hunt is going to be a special one for Alexander Gabrikov. The experienced bear hunter lost his husky during the autumn sable hunt. It was killed by the bear we are going to the seance for. That happened in November, just a kilometer away from the place where the bear went to bed in his last year den. We do understand the hunter as a dog trained to hunt the sable, moose and bear is of great worth for a village hunt trader. In the taiga, such a dog is a helpful assistant and a loyal friend. Appearances are deceptive. A tough man can turn out to be a sensitive and poetic person. Alexander has 56 killed bears and tens of poems written in the taiga on his account.
Отвязываем этого. Так. Веревку еще до этого долго.
25 years in the hunting business taught Alexander to rely just on his ability and intuition. The short-spoken and self-assured hunter taught his son Denis to act the same way. Our journey to the bear den is a rare exception. Usually, Alexander goes on hunt alone. For the first night, we stop at a hunter's hut on the bank of the hot Yurti stream, the tributary of the river Ognoy. The den is 35 kilometers away in the mountains. At the hut, we do the usual job they do in the taiga, unsaddling and feeding the horses, checking the technical devices, getting water, making fire and cooking. The second day of our unusual journey started with the thought of why the bear is more respected by people than other animals. The white taboo sphere, with reference to the bear and the respect for the animal throughout human history, makes us think about the history of this phenomenon. modern scientists avoid making assertions about its origin and duration. But it is known for sure that as far back as the Neanderthal time, they did ritual bearing of bare legs and heads. However, by that time, the cult had lost its primary meaning that had been inherited from more ancient people. The common feature of the teachings of ancient Greeks, Hindus and Egyptians is that the evolution of living beings started in the metaphysical world and continued by the means of gradual compression of astral forms. They also argue that man appeared on Earth before mammals, and not the other way around. The same is said by numerous folklore and mythological sources considered in light of the world esoteric traditions. In the aggregate, those facts can explain a lot. For example, the stable belief in the human origin of the bear, which is widespread among the Mongol, Tatar, Finnish, Tungus and Indian tribes. In the taiga, one cannot help thinking through the things you normally don't pay attention to. While helping Denis rescue Orlik, the horse who had fallen into the river, Arkady made a philosophical observation that all enlightenments and temptations, all human ups and downs, exactly reflect the drama of physical life. The hunter's way is one of the most hard on earth. The steep tracks he follows all his life must not be wrong. They either lead to the well of truth, out of which wise men get the water, or the jungle of animal instincts, which are pretty hard to get rid of.
Проверил на сегодня. Кого там проверять?
Я думал, что это с него кровь бежит. Давай его ноги сразу проверяем. Это весной провалилось под ним, а мы сзади ехали. Все, по самой...
The likeness of the fundamental views of the world in the myths of different peoples testifies to their common origin. It must have been the archaic mysteries that had come from disappeared civilizations. For hundreds of thousands of years, in disguise of sophisticated symbols, they had been carrying the meaning of the innermost fundamentals. No matter how we treat them nowadays, the people's consciousness cannot be deceived or closed. In it, like in a holy book, we can just read between the lines and admire this storehouse of real wisdom. Alexander told me about one of the most terrible vows which was made with the use of a bear skin. To break it was considered worse than death. The bear is higher than the shaman's flight. This phrase, as well as the higher Kolyma River Yukagir's rite of rain conjuring with the red bear skin, means a lot. First of all, they remind of the unity of all the existing. The hunter's paths, the silence of snow-covered cedars, hibernating bears. In all of these, there is sense, silence and power. The horses and people go on Earth, the Earth moves in the solar system, the latter in the universe in the space in the infinite and boundless common reason. The forest, like the Milky Way, abides by the law of universal harmony. The human being, the animal, the mineral follow the same continuous cycle of revelation or evolution. Ascents and descents, fatigue and rest alternate each other along the winding paths. Going along them, all the living beings in the end get one great goal: perfection and freedom. The Evenkis believe that the taiga Lord Hangai doesn't forgive greedy and insatiable hunters and punishes them with the help of the bear. Is their interpretation of the action of the law of harmony that balances the stream of life. Hunters are aware of the law of karma and retribution that doesn't allot anything to anybody. It exists from eternity. It's not the bear who kills a person, but the personal action of the unfortunate who breaks the laws of nature and puts himself under the jurisdiction of the laws that rule the world. On the 12th of December, tired and hungry, we come to a small hunter's hut built by Alexander on the bank of the Vasiliev stream.
Чё? Чё?
The coming night will seem long and full of worries for the hunters. Tomorrow, on the 13th of December, they will be hunting the sacred animal. By chance, this date coincides with the day when northern people celebrated Bear Day with a complex system of rituals connected with bear hunt and eating bear meat. This fact again brings us back to the primitive times. For the Ainu people who inhabit North Japan and the Algonquins, the bear is the totemic animal. It is seen as their mythical ancestor. However, once a year they were supposed to kill and eat a bear grown in a cage. This ritual is likely to manifest the idea of human transformation after the destruction of his bestial nature. This can be proved by the fact that the bear takes the guise of a snake or a dragon in Siberian fairy tales. It is known that in astronomic or physiological metaphors, the snake has always been a divine symbol and was associated with deathlessness. The mystery of the after-death has always interested people a lot. Since the beginning of time, people believed that man differed from animals not by his body tissues, but by his deathless soul or ego that fauna representatives didn't have. The most ancient religions emphasized that human spirit is deathless, unlike the body shell, which was meant for one life period only. They argued that after death, the fine discharge of human soul broke up into ethereal particles and the spirit rose to God and stayed there until its second life period. The evidence of hundreds of generations of visionaries, collected and analyzed by Oriental philosophers, say that the vicious person's semi-material soul remains God attracted by the bodies of low animals, which they join in accordance with the person's current level of development. That's the way the popular belief that the bear is connected with the dead can be explained. Among the flesh-eating animals, the Ursidae, consisting of 5 modern genera and 8 species, is the youngest group. The one who the Buryats called a shaman, the Yakuts a wizard, and the Evenkis a big man, is referred by the systematists to the brown bear species known since late Pliocene. This animal is surprisingly sensitive. According to Siberian hunters, the bear wakes up when the hunters start to chop poles some hundreds of meters away from the den. During hibernation, the bear keeps completely viable. Its body temperature in the den fluctuates from +29 to +34 degrees centigrade. It breathes the following way. It makes some breaths, then follows a break that lasts for about 4 minutes. That's why the woken animal becomes very active and gets extremely dangerous. Owing to the bear's ability to quickly consider the situation and the speed at which it leaves the den, the logjam in the den bear hunt became most popular. With 2 or 3 long poles placed crosswise, the hunters block the den entrance to prevent the bear from getting out unexpectedly. This den, dug on the southern slope of the mountain under the roots of old cedars, turned out non-standard as it had a deep side hollow. Dens of this kind can be and are often used for a long time. If the woken animal doesn't come out of its shelter, they smoke it out or start shooting in the ground. However, in the overwhelming majority of cases, they shoot it in the den without waiting for the animal to get out. It's not that easy to get the bear out of the den made among tree roots. Sometimes this takes as long as until evening. In this case, the hunters have to spend the night right on the snow around the fire and go back home next day. Without the help of the horses, we would have to use a winch or vagas, special levers made of strong young tree trunks. We would also have to remove the upper part of the den, bound by frozen ground and cedar roots. The fact that horses can move heavy things attached to their tails has been known by hunters for a long time. An average horse can carry this weight up to 600 kilograms to a small distance and shift things weighing up to a ton. In the process, the rope sometimes turns out more breakable than the horse's tail.
Идет он, нет? А?
The attempt to get the bear out through the front southern entrance failed, as it got stuck in the roots that protruded from the den vault.
Он даже не пролезет. Не, ну там пролезет. Поверху, если его цепануть. Посмотри. Ну. И разом.
Еще! Стойте, мужики. Вот теперь надо глянуть. Его положи. Вот так держать. Ага. Раз, два. Взяли! Стоп. Еще! Взяли!
Fastened by the poles, the taiga lord wouldn't pass through the northern air hole. It turned out to be narrow, but as there were no obstacles there, the hole was extended with an axe.
Раз, два. Взяли! Еще. Подожди. Подожди, ребята. Раз, два. Взяли! Опа! Вторую надо лапу завязывать. Раз, два.
Нет, заловилась она.
А? Не видать ее. Подождите, он только когда пойдет, тогда пойдет уже все. Аркаша, ну туда возьми. Надо, блядь, вот так вот подержать.
The joint attempts of 3 strong hunters were in vain, and they had to try to use a horse again. But whatever hard Orlik tried, it couldn't make it on its own.
Все, пошел, пошел, еще. Давай еще. Аркаша, дай ему баню. Так, ее. Так, нормально. Держу, давайте еще раз.
Еще раз.
Алло.
Хорошо.
Так, нормально. Держу. На, Орик, давай. Давай.
Все.
Пойдем.
Давай, зато держи.
Алло. Алло.
Еще.
Все, давай.
Еще, малек.
Алло.
Ну-ка, подожди, он задницей упирается сюда, в берег.
Ну-ка, стой. Давай, ладно.
Тут конь другую стал, ребят.
Конь
Давай, раз, два.
Встал. Весь здесь.
The 200-kilogram weighing bear gave way, though with difficulty, just when white-eyed Pegash joined tired Orlik.
Блин, вот, задние копыта, стоп. Стоп. Держи. Так, давай сюда. Давай сюда. Стойте, ребятки. Сейчас. На! 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 На!
Давай,
Подожди, надо гнать вот этого.
Залазь на него. Палку дачи.
А я взял! Бля! На! 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 Давай!
The killed bear turned out a male with a grey stripe on his neck. The Siberians consider this kind very vindictive. While the hunters are examining their quarry, the divine part of the wild creature that got free from the material prison will go to the common source that everything and everybody descend from. But its mortal rests will serve people for a long time. Folk medicine has been long and successfully using medicines prepared from the bear body for many diseases. The bear teeth, paws, eyes, gall, skull, heart and skin were of the greatest worth.
Ну вот, парень, забрал ты у меня собаку. Самец, ребятки. Собаку отнял у нас. Ну такая судьба тебе, мы охотники. Ты зверь.
The northern people's beliefs about fangs and paws were alike. They were mainly used as amulets of different kinds. With paws, they treated some human mental diseases and domestic animals. Fangs were used for amulets that kept from misfortune. The eyes were believed to have a special magic power. They cooked and ate them to prevent blindness and improve eyesight. They hung dried bear eyes over a baby crib, believing that this will make the child brave. The blubber and interior fat are also very important in folk medicine. They are used for the treatment of tuberculosis, bronchitis, pneumonia, rheumatism, burns, itch, hurts, cuts and freezing injuries. To accumulate such a thick layer of fat, a bear needs to eat up to 500 kilograms of cedar nuts and about 700 kilograms of berries in autumn. This fat is called either the cedar or the bear fat, depending on what was the bear's main food. The bear was carved at the joints so that the bones were kept intact. The bear gall is used to treat liver problems, dysentery, jaundice, different kind of boils, sores, sore eyes and nasal inflammation, baby's blindness, diarrhea, radiculitis and delivery problems. Some Siberian people were prohibited to eat bear meat. There was a strict prohibition against eating bear meat by pregnant women and children. The bear skin was sort of sacred. They used it to treat old rheumatism, perspiration, child's leanness, hoodoo and fine consequences, fever, typhus, to keep bed bugs down as an amulet protecting from hoodoo. The bear skull was especially respected. They never left it in the forest. They buried it, put it on a tree stump, placed it on the top of a stake or took it home. The Sakhalin Nichs kept carefully decorated bear heads in a special barn that was sort of a family sacred place. It is known that people in Siberia and the Far East used bear skulls to help find out thieves. In North Europe, bear bones were often used in agricultural rites, and fresh bear blood was used to treat hernia.
Так.
Leaving the empty den and footmarks on the snow behind us, we are going back home. Silence usually settled over in Ainu settlements after ritual bear killing. It was believed that the bear was on his way and a noise could set it on the wrong track. The act of hunting the bear, in a dragon's disguise in Siberian fairy tales, is very symbolic, as it's one of the embodiments of the Scandinavian god Odin, the symbol of the ancient Greek goddess Artemis, the Ainu mountain god Kamui. The bear hunt takes place not just in the outside world, but inside a hunter's soul as well. To approach the higher, he should kill the lower inside himself. This is like killing the bear that we have grown inside ourselves, the symbol of human spirit triumph over primitive bestial strength.
Ну все, деда, пока.
The animal, connected with many militant gods, including Old Germanic Thor and Celtic Atio of Bern, posed danger not just for hunters. The confused data that scholars got from folklore and mythology about it cannot give us all the information of the hunting cults that permitted to worship an animal and at the same time to kill it. Death was always just an episode of eternal existence. Ordinary people have always understood this old pagan wisdom. No historic perturbations could do away with people's belief that no living being dies completely. While speaking with hunters, one realizes that a common person is no more superstitious than an educated representative of the civilized world. The strange philosophy of meat-eaters that disapproves of killing wild animals and at the same time allows to kill domestic animals infects society with hypocrisy and does more harm than the philosophy of hunters. One should go along the hunters' paths, see the enchanted world of their forests, hear the tired voice of their personal confessions, try to understand the singularity of their worldview before deciding whether we should disapprove of them or not. According to folk beliefs, the hunt of the 40th bear can be extremely dangerous. That's the symbol or a reminder of the retribution law existence. The bear hunt teaches us not to forget that if we should be scared of anything, it should be of bestial passions and forces concealed in our soul. They are much more dangerous than the Baikal taiga lord.
иду я напролом, и стучит всю ночь пустым ведром надо мною надоевший гром. За тобой пойду хоть на луну, а когда к кустам твоим прильну, приласкай меня, родной родник, ведь к тебе я шел все эти дни. Сквозь тайгу и через перевал шел к тебе, чтоб сделать здесь привал. Так зачем когда-то в темноте ты звездой светил манящей мне? За тобой пойду хоть на луну, а когда к кустам твоим прильну, приласкай меня, родной родник, ведь к тебе я шел все эти дни. Под ногами кочки бурелом, по тайге иду я напролом. Не стучи уже пустым ведром надо мною надоевший гром.